Okay, today's video is about the absolute value. To understand the absolute value, we will firstly take the meaning of the absolute value. So the definition of the absolute value of any number like C, if we have a number is C, the absolute value of the number C is the distance between 0 and this number. So let's understand that on the number line. Okay, so let's here draw a number line to understand that clearly. Here we have a number line like that. Okay, as we know before, our number line, in the center of our number line, here we have 0, and here we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and so on. And another side we have -1, -2, -3 and -4 and -5 and so on. Okay, let's consider our number C is the number 3. Okay, so to find the absolute value of the number 3, that means what? How many steps between 0 and your number? So if you firstly you have to define your number. Here is 3, and after that counts the steps between 0 and your number. So here we have one step, another more one, another more one. So here we have 3 steps between 0 and our number 3. So here the absolute value of your number 3 is going to be 3. Let's take another one. If we use a number like -4, okay, so that means what? The distance between -4 and 0. How many steps between -4 and 0? To understand the negative or the absolute value of -4, so here we have -4 and count how many steps between 0 and -4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we have 4 steps, not -4. Here the answer is going to be 4 steps. Why our answer doesn't going to be -4? Because here, as we know, we have negative sign, and here we have positive sign. The difference between the absolute value and the negative and positive here is we used here negative to show the value of our number is decreasing. If you move to left, so the value of your number is decreasing, and if you move to right, the value of your number is increasing. So here positive, and so here negative and positive just used to show us the increasing and decreasing of our value. Okay, let's take more example to understand that. Okay, if we have absolute value like for the number 2, to find the absolute value of number 2, let's draw another number line here down. Okay, like that. Here we have our number line, and here we have 2 direction. Here we have positive way, and here we have negative way, and the center here we have 0. To find the absolute value of your number 2, so you just here we have 1 and 2. Okay, so you have to ask yourself the distance between 0 and 2. How many steps? Here we have 1 step, another more 1. So the absolute value of 2 is going to be 2. Let's take more 1. If we use the absolute value of -2, so here we have -2 in absolute value. So we have first to define our number on the number line. Here we have -1, and here we have -2. Here, to find the absolute value of -2, you just count the steps between -2 and 0. So you will just counting how many steps between 0 and -2. We have 1 and another 1 more. We have 2 steps, not -2. Okay, so negative and positive to show us just only the direction and the value of our numbers. Okay, sometimes you will find the questions like that. If you have negative absolute value of -3, here to find the absolute value of that question, here we have negative sign outside, and here we have negative sign inside our absolute value. To define that, okay, you just to define firstly the -3 here on the number line, and here find the absolute value firstly. Okay, consider this not going, so the negative is going outside also, and the negative absolute value of negative 3, here you will find 1 2 3 steps, so it's going to be negative 3. Okay, because here we have negative sign outside. Let's take more than one. Okay, if we have negative absolute value of the number 2, you just firstly find the sign is going to be here. Okay, and find the absolute value of the number 2, which is going to be 2. Okay, so that's the absolute value. Okay, another more questions like that. If we have another question like that, if we have negative 3 minus 1 between the absolute value, to find that, here we have an operation inside our absolute value, so we have to find the value of our operation. After that, find the absolute value. Okay, here we have subtracting negative 3 minus 1, which is going to be negative 4. So negative 3 minus 1 between absolute value, so it's already equals to the negative 4 between the absolute value. To find that, it's going to be 4 steps. Okay, let's take more than one. If we have here 4 minus 2, okay, between absolute value, here we have an operation also. You have to solve this operation. After that, find the absolute value. Here we have negative 4 negative negative 2, which is going to be 4 plus 2 between the absolute value. After that, adding 4 and 2 together, which is going to be 6, and the absolute value of the number 6 is going to be 6. Okay, so that's all thing about the absolute value. Thank you very much.